Broadcasting from Millvale Studios, you are listening to Funny Money on the River's Edge Network. I'm your host, Tom Henry, and also here is your other host, Matt Wolfarth, and our producer, Tom Benoit. So welcome.
Good to be here. You're exuberant today. You're quite exuberant.
That's kind of funny because
you've changed your greeting on the show a little bit.
A little bit. I was up pretty late last night, to be honest. I've been watching the Pens, and then watching the Pirates for a little while.
Oh, the Pirates.
For as long as I could handle it.
Did they win?
They lost.
In San Diego, old stomping ground.
Well, see, the problem was, Liriano really
struggled.
And they pulled him after 4. He had given up 4 runs.
Okay.
And
hey, when he's bad, when he's off, he's off.
Well, see, I think he might still be hurt because he was out of the rotation last time around because he had like a sore arm. And so
he might have forced it back early.
It's likely that that's still bugging.
Hey, I pitched with that sore elbow. It's hard to pitch.
I bet.
You don't turn the curveball enough and it hangs, or you know what I mean? It's like shooting a foul shot, right? You just don't do the little things that you're follow through. Like the things that make your curveball break enough, or your slider break enough, or your fastball move.
Well, that'll do it. I mean, that'll ruin you just that little bit right there.
Yeah, you end up with the Stan Belinda fastball. Curves right over the plate. Remember Stan?
I do remember Stan.
He had that.
He was one of our more celebrated pitchers. He was like a sidearm guy.
But his fastball broke back over the plate.
But we were such a bad team at that time. The Pirates were so bad.
No, he was good, but I mean, it curved right back into your sweet spot. You just had to.
People would knock that out a lot. But he did have a decent record as like.
No, he's a good guy. I mean, he's needed to work on that. Like, there's little things I see as a fan that I'm like, why don't, if you get paid to do this all year, like little things I heard on who's the lefty big bat for us, first baseman?
Oh, John Jaso.
Not Jan Jaso.
You mean Michael Morse, the guy who sent him down?
Not him. He's been here. He just signed a big contract.
A first baseman?
He's outfield, left field, right fielder.
Wow, you just named several positions. Okay,
who's our right fielder?
Our right fielder, Polanco.
Polanco, yes.
Yeah.
So they were just saying, yes, he's really going to the opposite field now. And how can you not see that he would have that power going opposite field the whole time in his life? Like, just go with the pitch and hit the ball where it goes.
Well, I will say one thing about Polanco, and that is that he worked a lot with the batting coach in the offseason, and he changed his swing a little bit.
He should. I mean, he should go. Everybody tries to pull. The Pirates all try to pull outside pitches. You never pull an outside pitch. You get a pop-up.
But the way he kind of used to swing like in a very up to down way. Yeah, up and down way. Yeah. And now he's making level, it more horizontal.
Like Rod Carew-ish. Just watch Rod Carew videos, that's all.
Or just watch Andrew McCutchen videos.
And I told you who you really should watch. Darryl Strawberry.
Yeah.
He's exactly built like Darryl Strawberry.
All right, well,
they have something in common. You know what? They all make money. And they probably want to listen to Funny Money. Let's get to our point.
Yeah. Our point is that we're not sports guys. You can listen to Guy Scott Game for that. We're just we're just
wannabes.
2 financial guys kicking it.
Well, we have one. I want to clarify. We have one financial guy and a guy that wants to get money someday and save it.
and a celebrated comedian.
Yes.
All right. So
celebrated in much the way you celebrate an anniversary working in a government agency after 20 years.
Come on. It's not like working in a government agency. Seriously? You make it sound so depressing. How can comedy be that depressing?
No, comedy's good.
All right. I know. Brian is practically working for a government agency right now, right?
We haven't seen him, have we?
I know. We haven't.
He disappeared. He's like Men in Black. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, now he's doing the dirty work for the feds. So,
what are we talking about
today we're talking about truck makers.
Truck makers?
Yeah, and
Tonka?
I'm not talking about Tonka. Yeah, let me clarify. And I'm not talking about Ford and GM who make SUVs and pickup trucks. I'm talking about 18-wheelers. The big old
like Peterbilt
commercial trucks, right? like
Who else?
Peterbilt, which is one that we're going to discuss. But Peterbilt is a brand that's owned by another company. It used to be its own company.
Wow.
But it
it's
got
getting
acquired.
Shady. A little
Well,
shady.
it's broken. It's kind of consolidated, so that the main there's really like 3 big truck makers in the United States.
Really?
Yeah.
I would like to. I want to know where you get those Yosemite Sam mud flaps.
Yeah.
Because I just need one for my forehead. I'm gonna wear it out at clubs.
Oh, that'll be so attractive. Be like, oh,
Yo, back off, man. Yo, back off.
who is this again? And you pull up my mud flap.
I'm gonna do the poker stars, like do the poker tournament. Who's the mud flap guy?
Oh, right. No one would ever get any tells off you, except for the fact that you couldn't see your cards, and they knew that.
Yeah.
So therefore, they just figure they've got you if they've got a better than average
Nobody
hand.
talks to mud flap. Mud flap. That's such a
Don't
good
disturb mud flap.
name when he's thinking.
All right, so let's talk about this company. You may have heard of it before. It's called Navistar. Have you heard of that? Now it's
I haven't.
Yeah.
I might have. Did they make a GPS?
you'll see it on
Okay.
but you'll see it on trucks. Passing you by.
The only thing I see on trucks is I make wide right turns. I'm like, well, learn how to drive.
But those things have to make wide right. Have you ever driven a truck?
And then they have the how was I driving? Call 1-800 blah blah blah. So I call the number on board. I'm like, hey, 1-800. I'm calling about this guy driving. They go, what's up? I go, well, he makes wide right turns and he's bragging about it.
Have you ever driven a truck?
No, but I know you have to-
insanely hard.
You're very serious today. I was kidding. I know. I know why you don't, because you end up going in there and getting squashed.
Very serious. Yeah.
Yeah, try to make a wide right turn on Millville on North Avenue with the fences and the water break, and there is no room. Like, this is insane.
Well, it's a good thing that there's no commerce down here, or they would actually have to they'd
Commerce
have a
is
problem.
coming. Commerce is coming.
Well, all right. I hope so. Okay, Navistar, you might recognize its original name, which is International Harvester.
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
all over
okay.
International
Yeah.
Harvester. Now they also do farming equipment. Correct?
Well, that's actually how they started. It was created as International Harvester, and it was formed when the McCormick Harvesting Company merged with the Deering Harvesting Company. All right, so they were both, in the business of making farm equipment, and that was in 1902.
Wow,
so
that was
it's
a long time ago.
And so at that time they made farming equipment, that was even like they weren't even using automobiles when they started.
Yeah, what were they using? A horse?
They had like a plow with oxen and.
Oxen.
I mean, I'm serious. This is early.
You're right.
Yeah.
Farming had to be so hard back then.
But they did. Yeah, I know it would suck. But we were much more agrarian then than we are now, and it's because we had to be, because farming required a lot more manpower back then.
That's why you had 30 kids, right? You had to just keep spitting.
Right, right. They're good workers on the
No Xbox for you.
Right.
Movie.
And you hope for sons who can work in the field. The daughters, it's okay, they can do work around the house, but in the long run, if you have too many daughters, the work around the house is really getting done too.
Yeah, the house is fantastic.
Yeah, I know.
But our corn's rotten in the field.
Yeah, apple pie is delicious. But, this is like super sexist, but this is the reality of
That's
American
the way it
history,
was back
right?
then. That's everybody had their defined roles, and that's what we're suffering from now, because everybody can do everything, which is great, but it's also a transition for society.
Right. I do think we're going through a little bit of a transition.
Nobody knows.
I wouldn't say it's. I think suffering is a little too.
I didn't mean suffering. Did I say suffering?
Yeah, you said that's what we're suffering through right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, suffering's a strong word.
Yeah, because it's a transition period.
Yes.
But the fact that we're going to what I would think is a better place makes it more sufferable. Makes it
There's a means to an end. We just have to.
And getting there is not like that bad, you know. It's not like
No, it's just it's a different time. I mean, both people are working. Both people are trying to take care of the house, and
well, that's true. You did. I mean, you could get by with a single income back in the day, whereas you can't so much do that now. If you're a family,
you need like
with
4
kids.
incomes. I think both people have to have 2 jobs right now. Like unless
one of them is good.
Unless it's a good job.
Yeah.
Somebody just a breadwinner.
So, all right. So these two companies merged together in 1902. They made farming equipment, but they did start to build trucks. You know, with the advent of the diesel engine, because they built diesel trucks early, and during World War II, this was kind of a transition a little bit for them. They got dragged more into trucks, and that was because the government
probably needed trucks.
Had them make military trucks. Yeah, for the war effort.
Yeah,
and you know, they made quality military trucks. In fact, they still produce military trucks today. They have several that are very good contracts. Yeah, right, for like with the Army and the Marines.
Oh wow. Do they make the ones that they drop the Marines off in, that they always go through town on? Like the people
you
carriers?
mean this Yes,
personnel carriers.
They do make those.
Yes,
that's one of the things they make. They also make like a no, they're not the one. One of them is gonna. Oh yeah. We'll get to that next.
Okay.
But they make some neat military vehicles. They're not like the biggest player in military vehicles by any stretch, but they have some good trucks.
And they have a good reputation, right?
They do have a good reputation.
One other note on 420, the initials for International Harvester are IH.
Yeah.
But if you transpose that, it's high.
Oh my gosh. Mind blown.
Coincidence? Wow. I don't think so.
Yeah. Right.
Was that a long
That's like a double stretch.
That might be the best laugh I've ever got from you, though. Like, it was so stupid. Like,
it's like a double stretch. Okay. But that's because I'm thinking it through, and it's like more funny the more I think about it. All right. So
because it's something that a pothead would find, right? Like if you're high on pot, you would find that coincidence. Like, dude, if you like,
yeah, it is something that a pothead high on pot would find. Who found it? All right. So let's talk about International Harvester as they were. Okay, so during World War II, they got acclimated to producing high quality trucks. All right, and then so in then they started getting more into trucks, but they still have that was only one of their divisions. Although two divisions were very related, engines and trucks. They built the engines that they put in the trucks. But they also would sell engines separately, too.
They were private label engines.
Right. So now, okay, so they had this big company, though, and it had actually 7 different divisions.
Oh, my.
And the biggest division was agricultural equipment. Still, so at
they have a huge name. I don't think they're as big as John Deere, but in agricultural, they have a big name.
Right, they do.
They're steadfast.
Okay.
I would call them steadfast choice. Not the sexy choice, but the steadfast. It's going to work.
And that brand still exists, but let me tell you what happened. In the 80s, the farming sector was in the dumps. And it went through a really tough time in the 80s. I don't know if you remember that.
Why, did people stop eating?
No, the opposite. Not the opposite. Not that they ate too much. It's that... that the companies just had bumper crops.
They had too much.
There was an oversupply of food, and also that the technology was getting better, a lot better in the 80s, so that they kept harvesting more and more.
Do we have a program, like if we have an overage of food, that we can just ship it to like someplace in the world?
We have government subsidies. Which we have certain government guarantees that the government will purchase the excess. If you can't sell like 2/3 of your crop, then the government will buy like maybe 1/3.
And then what do they do with that? Do they send it to third world countries? Or?
No, they will give that out to the poor. That's like you can get a government card that enables you to buy food at a very low cost, like cheese and stuff.
Oh yeah, the cheese.
Yeah, but and that's directly from the government. But that's not the the sad truth is that the majority of it gets thrown out.
That's
that
crazy.
The government buys.
Yeah, we should send it to. They're starving people,
right?
But then they'll sue us.
But the world is complicated. There's reasons. There are like legal reasons why they don't do that. I think.
What's the legal reason?
I can't.
It's just.
It's complicated.
Well, I know. All right. Let me just tell you this. So if you have a function,
also,
and a restaurant has it. If they have extra food, they're not able to give it to homeless people either, because someone sued over that. Like if someone's giving you food, then you shouldn't be able to sue at any point. Like you should just be like, all right, thanks for the food.
Well, that's a difficult question. I mean, what if you're like, the evil, like, poisoner handing out goodies?
Well, I'm just saying that. I mean, I guess I understand, but I'm just saying there has to be a way that people. All right, we have people that need food, and then we have too much food. We should be able to marry those two somehow, and make sure those people get food.
Right. I agree. It's common sense. Yep. We do have these silos, unfortunately, full of rotting grain and cheese and all sorts of different things. And they're owned by the government, and they do not have an effective way of distributing it enough, so that a large portion of it goes wasted. And that's been that way for a while, ever since these subsidies have existed.
Oh, I know. But I'm just saying overall, there's some places in the world.
In my opinion, I don't think they should have the subsidies at all. I don't even. I understand that, like, you think, we have to support these businesses in case there's a food crisis, in case there's a drought.
That doesn't happen for any other business, right? I mean, not a lot of other businesses.
Very few businesses.
You make
another business that's like favored by the government, like that sometimes has gotten subsidies as steel.
That's
and
going
then
on right
another
now.
one would be automobile makers. The reasons for all of those are those last two are national defense. Why the government wants to make sure that those businesses stay operational.
Yeah, because they need it for.
You need a lot of steel, and you need tanks. I mean,
yep.
So those things are growing.
Well, the other thing, I mean, that's a huge issue right now with the steel, like because ATI just laid off people, and I mean, and they're all complaining about dumping by China. But
China makes a ton of steel. I mean, I understand that complaint, but that it's just China's arbitrary decision. Like they don't use they use like a quasi free market system, all right? So that, but they have a lot of government industries, and the steel making business is a government business. It was their declaration that they wanted to make a lot of steel.
Yeah,
like,
and they're number one, aren't they, by far?
Yeah, and so they did, and there's really nothing illegal about it. It's obnoxious.
It's a choice,
and it hurts our steel makers for sure, but I can't say that violates any trade agreement. It's not dumping, as far as I can tell, by China.
You've looked into it.
I have looked into it, yeah, and I've invested in steel companies.
Why? They're all getting clubbed right now.
I wasn't investing in them while they were getting clobbered, but
I bought U.S. Steel when it was 1 time's earnings, and I did well with that.
Nice. I doubled my investment in AK Steel, which I invested in 2013 and then held till third quarter 2014.
Wow, in a little over a year.
And then I was lucky that I got out then.
Then it went
because it went south from there. After the all the Chinese steel built up, but.
So farming got clubbed, right? And then
so in the 80s, farming was having a very hard time. And this put a lot of hardship on them, and they had to borrow a lot of money to just stay afloat. And then suddenly, then they had a huge strike. United Auto Workers is the union that their employees are represented by. So the UAW had a huge strike against them, and it was at a bad time, right when they were short on cash, and so it wound up being a monumental event for them. What they had to do in order to raise enough cash to keep the business afloat was to sell off all 5 divisions. The only 2 that they kept were the trucks and the engines. They decided we're just going to be a truck company.
Wow. Who did
they
they
sold
sell
off all the agriculture stuff.
Wow.
That's they
Did
sold,
the
they had a
unions-
construction division, and they sold that to Caterpillar. The agriculture stuff got sold to another group. I think it was a private group called MDT.
It doesn't make sense. Like, why would you strike if you know they're in trouble? Like that year, like you would wait till they have a good year, right? I mean, ATI the same thing. They were getting clubbed and they went on strike.
Right. Well, I mean, the best example is the steel industry right here. They went on strike at a bad time for steel, and it went down the tubes. You can't be like, oh yeah, I want $25 an hour, and you're competing against a Japanese worker at that time. We're talking about the 80s, who's making $5 to $6 an hour, and that adds up after a while.
Like from ton one.
Yeah, right. So I mean, and then you go on strike to say I want more.
Yeah,
it's not smart, but people do it because they don't see the big picture.
They don't. All right, let me ask you this. So I'm going to draw you a little graph. So when you start making a product, does it eventually get to a point where it's not profitable to make it because of the price of labor, and then so they plan for it to go overseas?
Well, you mean
like
okay, all right. So actually, as you ramp up a product and you produce more and more of it, labor becomes less and less of a factor
because of economies of scale.
Yeah, because of economies of scale. Because at a certain point, when you're selling enough, you're going to reach a point of maximum efficiency where you have the least labor hours per dollar of product sold.
Wow, that's a good concept. I like that. I've heard people use it. I just don't. Did you know what it meant?
But
economies of scale.
But you get that whether you're paying the employees $5 or $25 an hour, right? So,
but I don't quite get that then.
I mean, but so in other words, so it makes sense
because labor just.
It still makes sense. It makes sense to start out from the very beginning in China. I mean, because it's a lot cheaper.
You're right. Everything's cheaper. Less laws, less liability laws.
But although now I'd say, China's getting a little pricier. If I were going to start a new business, I would look at Vietnam.
Vietnam?
Yeah.
Wow. I was going to guess India. Would you have guessed Vietnam?
India has too many regulations. Vietnam, it's the Wild West, baby.
You've been there.
It's a jungle. No, I haven't. No. But I have a friend who went there to manage a plant. He actually got malaria there. But,
oh my God!
It's a great place in terms of getting really good labor for really cheap
and really good malaria.
And this is like we're talking about exactly the opposite of what presidential candidates are talking about now. This is what you do to get the best cheap labor, where they're all you should be persecuted and tortured for thinking things like that. I mean, that's sort of the mentality, right?
No, you're right, because all they're seeing is the jobs over here. But all right, so maybe
they think that it's like taking food out of the mouth from someone here and putting it in the mouth to someone over there. It's much more complicated than that.
Well, and the other thing is, I think anyway, and not being as learned as you, but I think that the product is always going to.
I like that, learned.
The product is always going to find the least alternative, cost effective, the most cost effective alternative. So they'll find someone will say, hey, I'm going to buy that product off of you here, but then they go on Alibaba or whatever and they're like, I can get it for $3, and they may give me one more order, but then they're going to try Alibaba to see if it works out, what's the longevity of it, whatever, and then I lose that customer.
That's generally what occurs in a free market.
Yeah, because people aren't stupid. People are more well informed than ever. So they're one click away from knowing the true answer of what a product really costs.
Right.
They go on eBay. So there's really no hiding or disguising not the cost, but your sale price, right? So whether if things are equal, barring conditions like if you need it tomorrow or next week. But if you have an open lead time, then you're probably going to go with the least expensive alternative.
Right. With qualitative differences aside.
Yes. Wow.
Right, because
this is like the big word show.
Come on, qualitative?
Yes.
Big words are getting littler.
That's multisyllabic, though.
All right, so...
Polysyllabic, I'm sorry.
But so... All right, so Navistar specifically. All right.
Okay, let's talk.
So that to get through that 80s cash crunch, they had to sell off these 5 divisions. So... and then they just had the trucking and the engine making, which is really...
We should have our own candy
related.
bar, dude. That's what we need to do. That's our candy bar, Cash Crunch.
I like it.
And then we could have our own cereal,
That's
too.
a great
we could
idea.
Have,
Captain Cash.
Yeah, Captain Cash. Right? We could have a whole line of money-themed cereal and candy. I always wanted a candy bar, the Money Crunch.
So the 2 divisions that remained caused the company to change its identity from International Harvester to Navistar.
I don't understand Navistar. I don't know what's the gist of the name.
The navigating by the stars.
Oh my goodness.
That was awesome.
I don't even know. I'm just guessing.
We're at the leading edge of technology. We use the stars.
I don't really know the origin of the name, but that's the name they came up with. And International Harvester, that name was sold with the agricultural division.
That makes sense, yeah.
So they kept the name, whoever bought it. And I think it was called MDT, the private equity, or the private company that bought it. So they just focused then on making vehicles. All right. And they got a niche, during the 80s, after this focus and after the strike, in making buses, like school buses.
School buses?
Yeah. You'll see they're the number 1 school bus maker. If you look around at school buses, look at the brand names on them. Navistar.
That is where I saw it, yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was the name of the school they went
It's
to.
huge. And
this Navistar school is huge. They're everywhere.
They have a really nice niche in that. And then they also...
and they really don't have any pressure to upgrade the school bus. They really haven't made any improvements to maybe put in seatbelts. I don't know.
I know
maybe some safety features.
That's a good point. Maybe put in seatbelts.
Maybe some seats that aren't harder than Keflex or Kevlar if you hit it.
But who cares? I mean, what?
Who cares? Parents, maybe.
Do they really?
No.
Do the parents care about the cushioning on the seats?
Dude, it's like a roller ball like that. It's just an insane war on every school bus.
Have you ever seen those like little birds? They paint like a little black bird.
No.
Right before it says Navistar.
No, I didn't know that. Why?
Yeah, you'll see it. The little bird on the like.
The people do it, or the company does it?
The company does.
Oh, okay. Because I got arrested for drawing male genitalia on all the dogs on Greyhound buses, and as a special condition of my parole, I'm not allowed to go anywhere near a deer crossing sign with electrical tape.
My favorite was to sit in the way back and write messages in the dust on the window in the back the cars behind.
Yeah, what did you write?
Like, help me.
Do my homework. Yeah, my kids always said I did.
This is a kidnapping bus.
I know. My kid, that's hilarious. They kidnapped me. My kids think I'm stupid. Well, they're like, "Oh, Dad, I did it on a school bus." Yeah, who's doing homework? I'll be relaxed, Jill. No more spitballs. I'm doing homework. Nobody does homework on the school.
Maybe his bus sucks and he doesn't.
No, my kid doesn't do the homework on the bus.
Not mine.
Not mine.
All right. So yeah, they also have a strong market presence in commercial trucks, of course. And other diesel vehicles. But, what we're really... The thing that unites all 3 of the companies that we're going to be talking about is commercial trucks.
Commercial trucks.
Yeah,
Well, that's
so-
huge. Now, number one, if you're looking for a job this day and age, let me just tell you, if you go get your CDL, you can work anywhere. They're always looking for truck drivers right
Oh
now.
my gosh, yeah.
Nobody can find them
It's hard, but
because they make wide right turns.
I'll tell you something though.
Is it a hard job, you think? Because I don't.
I do think it is. Yes.
I think I would like to do it.
You're just like up for anything now. No, it's.
I want to be a cake decorator. Too,
I don't
but
think
go
you
ahead.
would like it. I think it. You have to work like so many hours, and then they deduct your fuel costs.
What?
So you have to try and drive. It's about like trying to drive as fuel efficiently as possible
Oh my god.
and as quickly as possible too. So it's an interesting challenge, and you got
What
to
is-
stay
do you
awake
thi-
for long periods of time.
Correct. What you saying? I can't stay awake. I can't. Like I will worry about that, but I do. I do drive long periods. But like, taking those long blinks in my car is much different than doing it with like a big truck.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it did take a long blink.
Right? Did you ever do that? You're like, yeah,
I mean,
I'm up.
Yeah,
I'm up.
that's when you pull over, or like, yes, I have. I usually in that situation, I'll pull over and like get a drink or something. Not a cocktail. I mean like a
Water.
a drink of iced tea or
Did
something.
you ever punch yourself in the face? When you're
No,
I
I've
do
never
that. I
done
punch
that.
myself in the face. I stick my head out the window.
I'm telling you, it's better to like get a drink or some food.
What about driving?
You'll
What,
slap yourself.
what about putting your pecker in your zipper and pulling it?
Okay. That would be way low.
That
on
would
my
keep
list of
you awake.
options.
That would keep you awake. I'm just kidding.
I-
I've never done that. Not intentional. Not
I
intentional.
know.
Like, all right, I'm
Yeah,
really
right.
tired. Ah!
What made you think of that?
I don't know. I just thought that was the worst
It
pain.
was your
known-
trip
that,
to Indiana. I remember that.
that was the worst pain known to man.
You were hanging brains the whole
Let,
time.
let me tell you, the one time I'm going up from Sacramento to Lake Tahoe, right? And it's like a 2-lane road. But I get a big gulp. I'm like ready to go and drive, and I pull up the big gulp. The whole bottom falls out. So I have like a
Oh, no.
64-ounce dam in my legs, like, and it's freezing. Like I can't, like it's all ice cubes, right? And I can't move because there's nowhere to
You're
get off
freezing your
this
nuts
road.
off.
I had to drive all the way to Lake Tahoe. I had like numb nuts.
Wow. They're all dumb nuts.
That's crazy.
It was insane.
All right, so let's talk about
What are the numbers?
this company under the hood. Right. Okay, now, here's the thing.
No pun intended on the end of
That was nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Under the
They,
hood.
they lost money last year. All right. And this is kind of contrary to what I thought going in and looking at these companies.
You thought they would be killing it.
I was thinking they would be doing well because of the low
Gas price.
gas prices, right? And that they could lower the prices for their customers, and then some customers would think that shipping by truck is better than shipping by rail, or by a barge.
Which makes sense at some point, right? So
Well,
it's gonna-
it's faster, and there are a lot of places that that can only be driven to ultimately, right?
Yep.
So at some point along the supply chain, you're going to need trucks, but you might even move the trucks up one notch on the supply chain if the gasoline price is low enough. You know what I'm saying?
correct. Yeah, you would because
Right. Say maybe we skip the trains. We'll just do the trucks the whole way since it's no difference in price, and it's more specific.
I agree with you. I think that's when
And it's
I
faster.
yeah, it's faster and it doesn't take as long. So,
By more specific, I mean like the
goes
trains
right
have
to-
a narrow, right, a limited amount of routes, right? The truck could go right to your place.
yeah.
So but the thing, so that's what I thought. I thought they would have a nice competitive edge because of the low fuel costs, but really, it's different because all of these, gasoline, oil and natural gas operations have closed down or decided not to do these exploration projects. It turns out that has left there's an abundance of used trucks on the market.
Oh yes, you're
So-
right. So that
Right.
That whole oil and gas thing.
Right, doesn't make that much of a difference. Right, it works against you more than it works for you.
There's so many things about this oil and gas play that are astounding to me.
Right.
Like, and this is one of them, right? But you forget how many people were employed at those. They made great money, right?
Right.
Everybody in the oil and gas had great money. They bought houses. They started restaurants or whatever they did. But now that it's down, like they're probably selling their houses. They're not able to, and all these other jobs too, like this trucking job. You think trucking wouldn't take a hit like that,
Right.
but it's related.
Right, I wouldn't have thought of this angle.
Well, you didn't
I
think
mean,
it was-
as
you
I
didn't
said,
think
I
it-
thought it was going to be better.
Yeah, you didn't think it would be as big of an impact, right?
Right.
Like you knew it would be an impact, but not that.
Yeah, it
big.
didn't even cross my mind that that the market would be flush with trucks because of the downturn in oil and gas.
Now's the time to buy the trucks.
Maybe, but let me read you some numbers first.
All
All
right,
right,
let's
so okay, it lost $2.12 last year. Now
per share, I want to
per
clarify.
share. Okay,
Not
now
just like,
the analysts expect an earnings of positive 49 cents a share this year.
they're gonna
Okay.
make a
So they feel like it's coming back. So I'm going to tell you the PE, the forward PE,
Okay.
because the backward PE is infinite because it was negative. So the forward PE is 28.
Okay.
All right. They have no dividend. They have no ROIC because last year's was negative, and we look at the 1 year ROIC. They have now. Here's a bad thing. They have negative equity. Not as if everything I have been saying to this point is bad, but this is really bad. They have negative equity, which mean, and in fact, they have like significantly negative equity.
What are they going under? We
Now,
shorten this
now
one.
what that means is that the accountants, but the way that their books are, the accountants believe that the liabilities are worth more than the assets, right? So that meaning they owe more than all of the things that they have combined. All right, so.
Significantly.
Significantly, right. In fact, this company is about a 1 billion market cap company, and it has 5 billion of debt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you shorting this by chance or no?
No, but I'll tell you, no, I would not short this company, but I'm not going long this company either. I'll tell you, the stock is down to $13.73 from $40 in 2014, before the whole oil mess started. So it's been very bad for them. But the analysts have a reason for thinking that they're going to make positive earnings this year. Go back to 49 cents.
What is that?
Oh, well, two things. The stabilization in the price of oil.
Okay.
Okay. It's low. It's still really low. But
it's not as low.
At least it's not fluctuating, right? It's $40 instead of $20 or 20 some,
Correct.
So it's not that bad, but it's bad. And at least it seems pretty stable in the last, 6 weeks.
You know what it has? It's like 250, 260. Is that what it is per gallon?
Oh, for gas?
Yeah.
Where are you buying your gas? That's too high.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like $2 a gallon.
I buy it off my neighbor.
No wonder.
I siphon.
Remember
siphoning?
Yeah.
Some sucker siphoned me.
the other
My kids do
Big-
that with my wallet.
problem for them is that Brazil is a big market for them. And Brazil has really fallen off because they supply commodities mostly to China, and that business has dried up.
There seems to be a common theme in the world today, Tom. What do you think it might be?
China.
China.
It's behind everything. Very interesting what's going on there now. They're trying to lift the economy back by doing the same old thing.
You need to fly over there pronto. And just get them
Give me a
drunk.
Piece of my mind.
No, just tell them what to do, man. Just let it ride. It'll be all right.
All right, let me talk about the next truck company.
Yeah, that one sucked.
This one's more interesting.
No, that one was interesting,
give
but
it
it was
away.
like, oh my
Yeah.
God. That looked like my bank balance
Yeah,
and my
that-
ROIC.
right.
That looked like my personal.
That was devastating.
You know what? We're gonna
That-
do a thing called a break. Have you ever heard of those?
Oh yeah.
We're really bad at those.
We are going to take a break. Hey, but one thing I want to say about Navistar, and that's that this not only the reason that I'm not investing in a company that looks like this is because
You're sane?
there's a very high chance that it would go bankrupt. When you have negative equity and that much debt,
It seems like it's insurmountable. You can't service that much.
it's possible, but it's possible they make it through. Look, they made it through the 80s.
They're probably
but-
going to get bought out by somebody with cash.
That could be. But at any rate, you could take a flyer on it. The stock's down so much that, it could double. That's easily possible. If they do earn for 49 cents this year, that stock could double. But I would not invest in it because of the risk of bankruptcy, and it's very high. I would say it could go to zero, a little more likely than it could double. So that's why I would stay away from it.
Good point.
All right, so
What's next? And
now
we'll go
that
to
we've
break.
discussed Navistar,
Yeah, what's next?
we're going to talk about Oshkosh Truck Company.
Okay, when we come back.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Art All Night 2016, now in its 19th year, returns to the Lawrenceville neighborhood of Pittsburgh on April 23rd through the 24th. The 22-hour event runs through the night and will take place at the Arsenal Terminal building between 39th and 40th Street. Under the three pillars of Art All Night, no fee, no jury, and no censorship, the event prides itself on accepting art of all types from all walks of life. Artists may submit one piece of original artwork through the online portal at artallnight.org. If you'd like to help make Art All Night 2016 a reality, please sign up to volunteer at the event. It takes over 300 volunteers to make the show run smoothly, and shifts are as little as 2 hours. Visit artallnight.org for more information. We hope to see you there.
And back we are. All right, so
Oshkosh.
Oshkosh.
They make underwear and kids' clothes.
Now you're talking about Oshkosh Bigosh.
Oh, really?
Now, Oshkosh is named after its home area, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and it was founded in 1917 specifically to produce heavy-duty four-wheel drive trucks in 1917. So we're talking about early on in the advent of the automobile.
Did Larry the Cable Guy found it?
It could be like that. Yeah, right. He sort of seems like that, but
Get her done.
you know that Larry the Cable Guy is not even from the South.
No, where's he
That's
from?
a totally fake accent.
Oh,
It's
man.
a character that he has. He's like, and he's not.
Hey! Next thing you're gonna tell me wrestling's not real.
All right, I'm not going to get too much.
He was a DJ,
detail.
right? Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was
Dan
a radio
Cummins.
personality.
Dan Cummins.
That's not his name.
Yeah, I believe it is.
No, it's some ordinary name, but it's not Dan Cummins.
If we had a producer who cared, he might look it up for us.
All right, yeah.
He doesn't see. He said he's out for the night.
You guys.
He went fishing.
So, okay, Oshkosh deliberately set out to build heavy four-wheel drive trucks. And they were a bunch of guys in a shop, a metalworking shop trying to figure it out. And they came up with their first truck. They built it,
How
a
cool was
prototype.
That had to be cool.
Prototype. And that truck is known as Old Betsy. And it is still operational and
Not to
still
be
owned by the
confused
company.
With the person I saw at the strip club the other night. Now on the main stage, Old Betsy.
Old Betsy. So it still runs. They use it frequently in parades.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they bring out Old Betsy, and people are proud of it up there in
You should
Oshkosh.
be, yeah.
Right? They built this big, cool truck early on in
Well, they are people that wear
history of the automobile.
cheddar on their head.
Right, there are those.
Oh, Dan Whitney. Thanks.
Oh, I knew it wasn't that. Yeah, I knew, that's right. Dan Whitney.
Our producer came up with that. Thanks, Tom.
I knew it wasn't Cummins. I would have remembered that. All right, so Oshkosh is the largest maker of military trucks. In fact, like they're like the truck maker of the military. They
Well, I like that. I like that idea.
yeah. So, but the thing is, so a lot of their business relies on government contracts, right? But the thing is that's very unpredictable.
It's seasonal. No, it's not.
Well, I mean, a lot of it has to do with like who's elected president.
100%. Yes. Do they believe in a big government, big military, or little military?
Well, I mean, it's not 100%. It's not like, you know.
How much does it move? 20%? Because I know
maybe
Halliburton
something
always
like that.
flourishes under Republican rule. Every time a Republican gets elected, it's
Dick
like
Cheney was
Halliburton,
on the board of
Halliburton. They're everywhere. Like, where'd they come from?
Or was Dick Cheney chairman of the board?
Yeah.
But Halliburton is an oil services company, right?
They do
oil
others.
field services.
Yeah, but they do others.
But so if you're gonna go invade Iraq and you know control part of the country, then you might need an oil field services company. I'm not saying, you know, that there are no backdoor room deals between the government and Halliburton.
Look, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just saying that
Right.
all of a sudden I heard Halliburton. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but that they just popped up. But they were always there, but they were like locusts, and we're alive. We have 75 branches.
They make a lot of useful products. They do things, you know, because of like.
They can't sue a podcast, can they? Halliburton.
Of course they could. You could sue anyone.
They could probably like they'll
Yeah.
they'll just make me disappear. Look, I like Halliburton. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden you're changing your tune.
Hey, Halliburton.
You wussy.
I am a wuss. I got to be honest, dude. I don't have anything to give you, but don't
Right.
take my flat in Millville.
Well, one thing I will say about Halliburton is that it's a lot more complicated than a lot of people realize. They do a lot of things. The company is sort of based on like, as I said, oil field services and offshore platforms.
Okay.
So like everything required to have an offshore platform, including like dining services and everything.
Oh, okay. So they do
Like,
it.
Right.
The whole kit and
but
caboodle.
because they're good at that, it turns out that the government, when they're going on an expedition, that those services are also helpful,
Oh yeah, they help with like
depending on
deployment
what
amount.
the expedition is. All right.
That makes sense. Good. Thanks
Now,
for the clarification.
I'm not saying they're not corrupt.
I didn't say corrupt. I never said corrupt.
All right,
just
I
said
know.
that
You sort of
I said they
implied
pu-
that.
I
Well,
know.
you know, you said, okay, that
They-
during Republican administrations,
they seem
they
to
do better.
flourish. Yes.
Yeah, I would generally agree with that. And I would say that, you know, the general tendency is for most of these military contractors to do better during Republican administrations.
I would agree. That's
Right,
all. I
but-
was just stating a point.
It also depends on the individual. You know, people were really scared about Obama, but he didn't really change all that much.
No, he didn't cut
Yeah.
everything. They thought he was going to close everything.
Right. So in fact, Oshkosh has done quite well under Obama with the military stuff. And okay, so let me tell you a little bit about
Under the hood?
No, about the history. We're not going under the hood yet.
Okay.
So you got to worry about the government. We already said, but they are the sole supplier of medium and heavy tactical trucks to the U.S. Army and Marines.
Did you say soul survivor?
Sole supplier of medium and heavy tactical trucks to the U.S. Army and Marines.
Wow.
All right. Now, it's not just that they're a defense contractor, though. They're also a big maker of commercial trucks. So they have 4 divisions: commercial, defense, fire and emergency is one division because they make fire trucks and ambulances. Big ambulance, the long ambulances, you know.
Oh yeah, the ones that
are big. And they have and access equipment is the other division that they have. Now, by access equipment, I was like, what is that? But
that's the cherry pickers.
Right, cherry pickers, exactly, and aerial work platforms.
Aerial work.
which are like those
The JLG lifts.
like that, except not made by JLG.
Except with a different logo.
I know, but I could tell you a lot
JLG is
about
awesome.
JLG.
I love JLG.
I like Terex better. All right. So the PE, we'll look under the hood now. PE is 14.9. They have a dividend of 1.92%. That's decent.
Nice dividend.
Yeah, got a little 2%. I like that. ROIC is 8.14. A little low for the PE. Net debt to equity is 53%. That's good. You know, that's pretty normal.
Yeah, for capital equipment company.
Right. Earnings per share are expected to drop 22% in 2016 and then rebound again in 2017. Now, the reason why, it's down because of the commercial truck business, but it's rebounding partially because they just won a $6.7 billion contract from the government. And that's going to be a very significant thing for the military because they're going to change all of the Humvees into Oshkosh vehicles. They're going to gradually phase out the use of the Humvee.
Why didn't they like the Humvee?
Well, the Oshkosh one apparently they like more. It looks really sweet. I don't know. It's armor plated too. You know, it must be better for some reason.
Cool.
So the JLG is going to replace that. So you'll see like more, images of them driving around in different vehicles than the Humvee.
Will they come to the mass market like the Humvee?
No, they're definitely not coming to it. It really looks like a war thing. You know, it's not.
Look it up.
Okay. Did they ever build? I don't think they've ever
Going to commercial.
built anything that you could sell to a retail customer.
Cool.
All right. But that contrasts with the next company that I'm about to talk about.
So what are we saying on this one here?
Oh, okay. All right. So
Too crazy with the earnings per share.
I would say no, because it's just too overpriced. You know, there's nothing. The PE is too much over it's 14. The ROIC is 8. You know, or it's 15. The ROIC is 8. So I don't like. I think that's too expensive.
What's their symbol, by the way?
OSK, Oshkosh.
Okay. What was the symbol for the first one?
Oh, that's Navistar is NAV. Okay. Let me tell you also, Oshkosh, just to note where the stock price is and where it was. It's $39.50 today, and that's down from $60 in 2014. So not as big a drop off as Navistar, but still a very significant drop off. Now,
is there a place you would invest in this based on the fact that they got that huge contract? And then try to ride that out for next? Because that's going to be ongoing, right? If they're replacing all of them, that's going to be probably a 10-year contract.
The problem, I think that the analysts have figured in this contract and still only see the price going up, to back to normal. Like they still only see the earnings going back to what they made last year.
Okay. Now, do you think the guy that worked at Humvee got fired for losing that contract?
It's not Humvee. The company's name isn't Humvee. It's got its own. It's a weird little. No, it's like it's got its own name. It's like First Century or something. I forget what it's called, but
they're changing it to. Damn it! We lost that order.
I could have talked about them. I think they're probably private though. But so let me talk about the last one.
Do we need to take a break?
We are. Yeah, we're going to take a break.
What's the next one?
The next one is PACCAR. Have you ever heard of that?
No, you're making stuff up.
PACCAR. PACCAR.
PACCAR.
All right. Okay, we'll get to that when we come back.
Hi, this is Zach Bell, the station manager of WCAL, and I'm here to tell you about an upcoming event being sponsored by WCAL, the Rivers Edge Radio Network, and Placid Promotions. WCAL is proud to be sponsoring Heavy Metal Medicine 3, a free-to-the-public music and arts festival being held at the Menneson City Park Amphitheater on Saturday, April 23rd. This year's lineup features some of the best heavy music Pittsburgh has to offer, including Revival Recordings artist Cabaret Runaway, as well as Solarburn, Claymore, Only Flesh, Tartarus, Old Lords, Shadow of Corvus, and more. The festival is set to kick off at 1 p.m. on Saturday, April 23rd. Be sure to follow 919 WCAL and Rivers Edge Pittsburgh on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up to date with the latest festival information and artistic news. Stay metal.
All right, and back we are. So we're going to talk about PACCAR now. Now,
I think Tom got us the answer on Hum.
yeah, he did.
What was it?
He said AM General was the name of the company that makes Humvees.
I would have never guessed that in bar trivia.
No, it's pretty random.
Thank you, Google.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so PACCAR, it started as the Seattle Car Manufacturing Company in 1905. All right, so this is an old company also.
From the Northwest.
The Northwest.
Yes.
Now, the interesting thing is, they called it was the Seattle Car Manufacturing Company. But now, a car does not necessarily refer to an automobile, because
It could be a
rail car or just a car. I mean, car just means like this
vehicle
container, right? A mobile container.
I didn't know that.
So,
But I know what they
That's
call
what-
rail cars.
because, and I say that because when they started out, the Seattle Car Manufacturing Company was not making automobiles. They started by making horse or oxen-drawn logging trucks.
Oh, logging trucks.
Trucks, but once again,
Wow, like logging
trucks
wasn't hard
in
enough today.
quotations, because the trucks didn't power themselves. They needed oxen or horses to
Yes.
drag them around. All right, and now that the reason why they were needed to make these special trucks was because of the terrain in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's mountainous and dense forests, and so they're dealing with the logging industry here. So in 1917, all right, 12 years later, the company was, after a merger, it was renamed the Pacific Car and Foundry Company.
Pacific Car and
Now you can see where PACCAR comes from.
Yes.
Right? Pacific Car.
Pacific
Because that's what they began. Eventually,
It's
everyone,
like PAC
everyone just
Sun.
called them Pacific Car.
It's like
and then they
PAC Sun.
started calling them PACCAR. Just, as a short
Doesn't
name.
really roll off your tongue. I was
Yeah, it's a little weird,
I was
but-
guessing Indonesian on that name.
Yeah. No.
Not quite Pakistan.
Not Seattle. So, in World War II, each of these have a World War II story.
The war launches a lot of businesses.
But Pacific Car built tanks. They were the big, in fact, they were a huge tank maker. Not as big as GM maybe, but they built, the famous
M1.
Sherman M4,
M4.
which was the most prolific Allied forces tank.
Really?
it was
I didn't. How do you know
invented
that?
here. I actually researched that today.
Wow.
But I also knew about that tank before.
I heard the Sherman. tank.
Yeah, it was huge, instrumental in winning the war. We had to deal with all those Panzers, and the Sherman was very effective.
What's a Panzer?
It's a German
Tank.
tank.
Oh my goodness! I feel like I'm on the History Channel. That's cool.
It's not like this is really obscure knowledge, like from some
But it's really
history
Well,
expert.
I thought you did great research. I was trying to give you a compliment.
Thanks. It's just general knowledge, though.
I'm going to deal with those Panzers. I'm going to be using that in traffic tonight. I have to deal with those damn Panzers.
So, all right, now the thing about PACCAR is they always made their own steel, which
Okay.
is a little different.
Like we make our own heat in this place.
Yeah, I know we do. They make their own steel, and they use that steel then to go ahead and build vehicles. And they obviously churned out a lot of tanks during World War II with their own steel, and that steel was very valuable during World War II because there was a huge steel shortage. So they were very well respected by the U.S. government at that time. Okay, now, in fact, they made the steel that was used to build the Space Needle in Seattle, and that was in 1961.
Really?
Yeah.
I've been on the Space Needle.
Really? I haven't. Is it cool?
No, it's really awesome. I had a joke about it. I said they have the highest heroin overdoses in the country in Seattle. Right? I said maybe it's because your
Space
motto
Needle?
is a needle. Like,
Yeah, I know. What is up with the Space Needle? What a weird concept.
Yeah, we should call it the Space.
It's like, what?
Space Shangri-La or something.
We're gonna
like.
go inject some aliens or
Yes,
something. It's
exactly.
like, what is that?
Beautiful place though. Seattle's unbelievable.
Why is it a Space Needle anyway?
Because it goes in and out. I don't know. It's nice. It's fun. Right. But I don't know. But that joke didn't do well with Seattle people. You can just go back where you came from. I think that was the direct reply.
So PACCAR, one thing to note about them is they made a lot of acquisitions. That's how they grew in the 50s and 60s.
What's their sign? Or what's their sign?
It's PCAR. And including
symbol. What's their symbol?
Yeah, the symbol. So those acquisitions included the Dart Truck Company.
Okay.
Which you might not recognize, but also Peterbilt Motors, which I know
Peterbilt.
You know that one.
Yes. That's
so
great reputation.
They're a big player in the commercial truck business.
Truckers love Peterbilt. Like it's like, Harley Davidson of trucks. Peterbilt.
Yeah, it's high quality.
And they say it in a deep voice usually. I'm a Peterbilt.
All right, so let's look at this one. This stock is down to $56.43 from $70 in 2014. So out of the three, this one has lost the least percentage-wise. And I think the reasons for it are that it also is the one that looks the most attractive if you look at the valuation.
Let's take a look.
Okay, the PE is 12.51. Dividend is 1.7%. The ROIC, 14.48%.
Whoa!
Okay, so higher than the PE.
We have a winner.
Net debt to equity is 74%, which is still in the normal range. So I would say that's neither plus nor minus. And the earnings per share are expected to drop 13.5% this year. I mean, you see this is a trend, and that's because of the difficulty of the trucking business. But I find myself very tempted to buy this stock because it's at a time. I like to buy when an industry is in despair.
Wait, I have to check with Tom. Did he just say buy? Did Tom Henry say buy? Okay, I just want to.
I did.
Time on the show.
No, I think it's the fifth out of like 7,000 shows. Go ahead. Go tell us.
All right, so the one factor that I like obviously here is that the PE is lower than the ROIC, and that's the only real standout thing here.
What about the management? You always.
Yeah, I've owned this stock in the past. I will reveal. I don't own it now, but I owned it about 3-4 years ago, and I found that the management was okay. All right, not going to say it was great because it seemed like there were a few mistakes that they made, but that overall, the fact that they can generate this kind of earnings in a tough environment.
Correct, they are. I mean, that's almost that's what rings out to me is the fact that everybody else in this industry is getting clubbed a little bit, a lot.
Getting clubbed harder than they are.
Yeah.
And that says something. They're gaining market share.
Yeah,
it's got to be. So I do kind of like this one. This is one that's going to survive the downturn, in my estimation. And and with this kind of productivity, they're going to do pretty well.
Are you going to buy it?
I might.
Okay.
I might.
Definite maybe from Tom Henry.
I'm tempted.
Yeah, that's what I think, because in most times when there's someone that's doing well, the market's doing well with them, right? Like the tide. But this one, they're across the board getting clubbed, and then this one's like, wow, this is a little bit of shine.
Right.
So it's probably better than it looks.
Now, see, the thing that could prevent me from buying it is concerns about China. as usual. Although China has stabilized recently.
Yeah, the stock market just broke 18, didn't it? Like that.
Stock market is doing well.
Yeah.
And the reason is, I think the underlying reason is because China has stabilized. And it's because, but their stabilization is, it's very tenuous. I don't think it can last, because what they've done in order to stabilize is borrow massive sums of money and then
Hey, it worked for us.
spend it. Yeah, right. And then spend it on building things that they really don't need. Like what they're doing is like they're building this like huge cement plant, and they have like a massive cement glut already that's putting, and it's so complicated. It's because of the local government wanted to like make sure the people were employed, and then and so they went ahead with these plans, even though it's gonna like make other cement plants have to go bankrupt.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but if you're in this local government, you've got 1 million people to take care of, and you want them to be employed. You don't care about Shandong. You're
Forget
managing your-
Shandong. I love how you knew that name.
You're
We don't care
managing
about
your own thing.
Shandong. Oh my goodness. Well, here's what I said. I think, the government here and the government there, build a water superhighway, so we don't have droughts anymore. That would be a good project.
They used to call that an aqueduct.
Yeah, but I call it the water superhighway. It's my term. I make the rules.
Yeah, that's a good one. That term will last, just like information superhighway.
Do you have any terms? I use eNesia all the time. Do you like that one? Where you like have all these websites you want to go to, but then you go home and go to the same four. eNesia. All right, we're done, I think.
All right. You know what? We are all out of funny money.
Talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening, folks.